Thank you for the visit. SciQ is science made simple for the rest of us. Enjoy. It is high time to start making personal health care your number one priority. According to Ray Kurzweil, we will reach age reversal escape velocity in 10 years, which simply means that for every 1 year that you age, you will be adding more than 1 year to your lifespan. Why should you listen to Ray Kurzweil? You should listen because he has looked at technology trends for several decades. He has made predictions according to growth and trends in technology, and according to Wikipedia and other sources, 86% of his predictions have come true right on the time scale when he predicted them to happen.
So very quickly, my background is a serial entrepreneur of now 19 companies focused in space and longevity and grand challenges. The author of 2 New York Times bestsellers, Abundance, The Future is Better Than You Think. The name came from Ray, and also Bold, How to Go Big, Create Wealth, and Impact the World. Very proud to be the co-founder of Singularity University, the executive chairman of the X Prize Foundation, and amazing companies like Human Longevity, Cellularity, Planetary Resources. And I love, and part of my massively transformative purpose is helping entrepreneurs like you really figure out how to go big and impact the world. So we'll be talking more about those things. Let me do a proper introduction of Ray, who's got one of the most awesome bios that I know. I actually had this probably memorized, pal. Since we've had a chance to do so many gigs together, but let me just take a second and read it. So Ray Kurzweil is one of the world's leading inventors, thinkers, and futurists. He has a 30-year track record of accurate predictions. If you go to Wikipedia, I think your prediction rate is like 86%, 87%.
86% of the 147 predictions I made in the 1990s, about 2009, were correct.
Yeah, amazing. You've been called the relentless genius by the Wall Street Journal, the ultimate thinking machine by Forbes. You were selected one of the top entrepreneurs by Inc. magazine, described as the rightful heir to Thomas Edison, not too shabby. PBS selected you as one of the 16 revolutionaries who made America. Ray was the principal inventor of the first CCD flatbed scanner, the first OmniFont optical character recognition, the first print-to-speech reading machine for the blind, the first text-to-speech synthesizer. There's a pattern here. There's the first music synthesizer capable of recreating the grand piano and other orchestral instruments, and the first commercially marketed large vocabulary speech recognition. Among your many honors, you've received the Grammy Award for Outstanding Achievements in Music Technology. You're the recipient of the National Medal of Technology, inducted into the National Inventors Hall of Fame. You hold 21 honorary doctorates. That's not too shabby. And been honored by 3 U.S. presidents. You've written 5 national bestsellers, including New York Times bestsellers, The Singularity is Near, which I loved and became the basis really for us collaborating and launching Singularity University. We're here, you're also written How to Create a Mind. We're here at Google headquarters recording this. This is you actually got a day job. Your first day job.
I do. It's my first job. It's going pretty well.
Yeah, it's going pretty good. And you're director of engineering here at Google, and you head up a team. Actually, it's been an exponentially growing team, developing machine intelligence and natural language processing, understanding. You're on my board at the X Prize Foundation, and most importantly for me, you're the co-founder and chancellor of Singularity University.
That's been great.
Yeah. I'm curious about another, one of the things that we talk about at Singularity University a lot for the graduate studies, the Global Solutions Program, and that I speak a lot about in Abundance Digital is having a massively transformative purpose. Something that drives you. I'm just curious, you've had a number of them, and you can have more than one as a person, but how would you describe your MTP, Ray, and when did that originate for you?
Well, my father had a major heart attack when I was 15. He then died when I was 22. So I began to be interested in health. I was concerned about him, and then I was responding to his loss. But I also then recognized I probably inherited his disposition to heart disease, and as it turned out, type 2 diabetes. So at that point, I put it on my long-term to-do list to overcome heart disease and death, and really had that idea.
You slipped in there, and death.
Yeah.
Which I share with Ray.
Well, I mean, death and the fear of death and how to deal with this profoundly antagonizing concept, everything we believe in, has animated human history.
Yeah.
We've come up with theories and ideas about it, rationalize, oh, that tragic thing, that's actually a liberation. It's a good thing. The purpose of life is to embrace death, which is a rationalization, because our first reaction to hearing someone died is that, we don't rejoice, depending on maybe who it is, but...
Let's not go there.
But we've rationalized that tragedy. So in fact, I had that idea really earlier, like at 10.
So that drove...
I had articulated, we don't really have to die, and we should extend human life dramatically. It was kind of a vague idea at 10. It became more formal when I realized that I had, a genetic disposition to deal with. It was on my long-term to-do list.
Yeah.
About a decade later, mid-30s, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I said, okay, I need to bump up the priority of this. And then I really delved into it. I wrote my first health book, and I'd say in the...
This is the 10% diet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
which is a great book, by the way.
In the 80s, and it really became a major theme, overcoming death, and it's closely related to artificial intelligence in terms of enhancing who we are, physically, biologically, and mentally, intellectually, creatively. It's all kind of part of the same cloth.
So if I may, again, what the themes for me that drive a great entrepreneur is, an abundance mindset, having a great community, having an MTP that emotionally drives you, and obviously the connection to your dad's early passing and the what that brings up in you drove that emotion, and then having that drive a moonshot, right? And you've been involved in a number of moonshots. You and I share a moonshot. My earliest MTP was space, that drove a lot of the space stuff I'm doing, but then lately I've caught up with you in the last decade with a focus on an MTP of extending the healthy human lifespan. And a few moonshots there. Let's talk about sort of the moonshots in extending the lifespan. I'm assuming that you guys are all interested in adding 30 to 40 healthy years, but what do you think is possible in terms of extension?
Well, at least our viewers who still have a version 1.0 biological body.
Yeah. Well, actually, we can't actually know that for a fact.
Yeah, well, version 2 is still in, not beta yet, but we're close.
Especially here at the hallowed halls of Google. I love the Time magazine, Google cheats death. And at the same time that I was starting Human Longevity with Craig Venter, of which you're an advisor, you and Bill Maris and others were advising Larry and Sergey and the team here on creating Calico, which is an Alphabet company.
Yeah. I mean, Calico's been pretty quiet. What little I know about it, I really can't share, but...
oh, come on, no one's listening.
But it is one of many examples of the increasing interest in Bridge 2, which is reprogramming the outdated software of life. It's not a metaphor to say that biology is software. Our genes are strings of data. But it evolved when conditions were very different. And it was not in the interest of humans to live more than in their 20s.
Yeah.
At that point, evolution was not on your side, because you're using up the food and resources of the tribe, and it's better that you not live. There's a small exception to that called the grandma hypothesis, that it was beneficial to human development that there be some grandparents who could then share their wisdom and help the evolution of technology and culture. But a few grandmas would do.
If I could expand on this, just I've always wondered, and if you do the math, You know, hundreds of thousands of years ago, when you went into puberty age 13, you'd have a baby. I mean, literally at that point. Then by the time you were 26, your baby's having a baby, you're a grandparent.
By the time you're 26, you're probably dead. I mean, life expectancy was 19 1,000 years ago.
All right. Well, the fact is, the older you got, before there was McDonald's and Whole Foods, if you were taking food out of the mouths of your children or their grandchildren, you never passed the genes along. So the best thing you could do is give your bits back to the environment.
Yeah, and evolution did not favor long life. And so, for example, our immune system, which is great, you wouldn't last long without it, does not recognize cancers and thinks, oh, that's me, because that's something that happens later on in life. So biotechnology is to reprogram biology, the software of life. I mean, that's what HLI is trying to do.
Yeah.
But it's a major movement. It's the cutting edge of medicine. It was enabled by Craig Venter's little project that sequenced the genome. These technologies have been doubling in power every year. They're now 10,000 times more powerful than when the genome was sequenced in 2003. And we're beginning now to get clinical impact. We can now fix a broken heart from a heart attack. We can grow organs.
We can edit a genome and fix a genetic disease.
I mean, at United Therapeutics, we're growing organs, ultimately with the patient's own DNA, installing them successfully in pigs, which are actually pretty close to humans, coming to a human near you soon. But we're going to basically completely redefine the health and medicine. Health and medicine has not been an information technology up until just recently. I mean, yes, we use computers to keep patient records. Actually, we don't even do that very well, but and to organize the information. But fundamentally, it's been hit or miss. We just kind of find certain chemicals that have a beneficial impact. We're now actually reprogramming biology, understanding, designing interventions based on the reverse engineering of human biology. And that's an exponential process, and that is now entering clinical impacts right at the cutting edge, like the ability to reprogram adult stem cells and rejuvenate a damaged heart, which half of all heart attack survivors have. If you're an American, you've got to go be a medical tourist. It'll be approved soon.
And of course, Cellularity, which is my latest company, which United Therapeutics, which you're on board of, is the largest investor in. There is a whole movement towards, you know, making aging a disease and not an inevitability.
So, I mean, but that is the cutting edge of all of medicine. Yeah. It's a trickle today of actual clinical applications. It's going to be a flood over the next decade. All the statistics on life insurance and health insurance and figuring out whether Social Security will be solvent in 20 years are based on models of the continued linear progress of health and medicine. And I've talked to people who are involved in setting, for example, in life insurance rates, and say, oh, well, we take into consideration medical progress using a model that's come from the linear progression of health and medicine, as if completely ignoring this transformation.
If you're looking for an industry to disrupt, insurance is going to be disrupted so many ways to Friday, it's not funny, between blockchain, autonomous cars, extending human lifespan.
And getting accurate models of health and medicine.
Yeah, I mean, all of this stuff. How old are you targeting to live, Ray? Do you have a target number?
Yes, I would like. Well, first of all,
I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
I'd like to live to tomorrow.
Yes, we can help that.
So that's a start. I feel that I will always feel that way. So I talk to people that say, oh, I don't want to live past 90 or 95. Then I talk to 95-year-olds, and they, in fact, want to live to tomorrow and next year. And my other goal then is to live past longevity escape velocity.
What does that mean?
So that means that we're adding more time than is going by, not just to infant life expectancy, but to your remaining life expectancy. Now, life expectancy is at any point in time is a statistical phenomena. You could have a computed life expectancy based on today's technology of whatever, 50 years, still be hit by the proverbial bus tomorrow. We're working on that too, particularly here with self-driving cars. But, and I talk about it's actually 4 bridges to radical life extension, each of which attacks the phenomena that cut our lives short. In my view, it's not death that gives life meaning, although I've had this debate with people. It's what you can do with life: be creative, have relationships, love people, be funny, create music, and that's going to be enhanced. So when we talk about living hundreds of years, people envision being a quintessential 95-year-old living hundreds of years, and that's not what we're talking about. We're not even talking about being a 25-year-old and living hundreds of years, but profoundly enhancing who we are. I think it would be profoundly actually disturbing, and we'd suffer from a deep ennui, that's a cool French word, if we had radical life extension without radical life expansion.
Yeah.
But we're going to merge with AI. We can talk about that. We're going to become smarter. We're going to add to the hierarchy of the neocortex, so we're going to create things that we can't even envision now, the way we did the last time we got more neocortex, when we became humanoids and we invented language and music and humor.
2 million years ago.
Tried explaining music to a primate. And
Let me expand on what Ray just said here on this idea of longevity escape velocity. So science is continually extending the human lifespan, helping us cure heart disease, cancer, eventually neurodegenerative disease. And so there's a point at which for every year that you're alive, science is extending your life for more than a year. And it's a mechanism of living long enough to live forever, to coin your phrase. What's your prediction of when we're going to hit longevity escape velocity?
So I think we'll actually hit it before we can prove that we've hit it.
Okay.
I think I've hit it myself. I think my life expectancy is not getting shorter. It's actually getting longer. For one reason for that is that I'm very aggressive in adopting sort of cutting edge ideas and keeping track of my own situation and being proactive.
But for the general public, what do you think? What's the number? I've heard you quote a number. I just want to.
I think it's only 10, 12 years away.
So let me just translate that, right?
Because that at that point, biotechnology is going to have taken over medicine. It's just the next decade is going to be a profound revolution.
It's bio and AI together.
And that's, well, I mean, AI helps biotechnology, but it's fundamentally biotechnology. And that's just bridge 2.
Yep.
That'll bring us to bridge 3, which is nano robots that can basically finish the job of the immune system.
So, your job here is don't do something stupid for the next 15 years.
Yeah, wear your seatbelt till we get the self-driving cars going.
I want to close on a broader human subject, which is, what do you think it means to be human?
Well, I think we are the species that changes who we are. So people say, oh, well, if some of our thinking is in the cloud, and that eventually becomes more powerful, and we're going to put devices inside our bodies that transform our health, are we still human? I don't think humans even have to be biological. I think humans are the species that changes who we are. We created technology. As soon as I had this tool that could reach fruit at a higher branch, that changed who I was. That tool is part of me. It's an extension of who we are. So we started a whole new evolutionary process. An evolutionary process led to humans, and then, in fact, if you look at the pace we talked about acceleration of change.
Yeah.
Mammals took tens of millions of years, and humanoids millions of years, and Homo sapiens hundreds of thousands of years. And then finally, this acceleration of evolution passed on in a very smooth fashion to technology. The first steps, like fire and stone tools and so on, took thousands of years, and now we see paradigm shifts in 1 year or less. But it's a very smooth transition from biology to technology. And So we are the technology creating species, but technology is an ability to change our environment, to change ourselves. We are going to profoundly transform ourselves, and people say, well, do I really want to become part machine? You're not even going to notice it, because it's going to be a sensible thing to do at each point. Just like you take a medicine that, you know, okay, it has some nanobots in it, keeps you healthy, you'd be stupid not to do it. And by the way, this has now this new feature, it'll improve your memory so you can recall things more easily, and it's just going to become a seamless process, as it has been. So that's who we are. We are the species that changes who we are to become smarter, more profound, more beautiful, more creative, more musical, funnier, sexier.
Amen. Amen. I love that. So listen, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you're part of the Abundance Digital community, you'll be joining Ray and I again at the end, January 21, 22, 23. We'll be spending a day together going deep into artificial intelligence, BCI, and another subject we haven't talked about, nanotechnology, right? And we're both we're both advisors and investors in nanotech company
we did mention nanobots.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to have a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed this. Again, hello to the SU family and to the Futurism audience as well. And Ray, thank you, pal. Always a pleasure.
It was great to share ideas. Yeah. There's always more.
A lot more, and it's getting more abundant every day. See you guys.
This video was produced as an excerpt from a 90-minute video titled Ray Kurzweil plus Disruptive Technologies and Dangerous Ideas, taken from the Peter Diamandis YouTube page. It is an intriguing video. I highly recommend that you watch it in its entirety. I am posting a link to it below in the description, along with a link to the Peter Diamandis YouTube page. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, share and leave your comments below. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more releases from PsyQ.